Okay, so now moving ahead from a hanging man and hammer, we come to another set of patterns which has both comes after a lower mark, a falling downtrending market, as well as a rising uptrending market. Now this is just the mirror image of a hammer, a short small body and a long upper shadow. A small short body and a long upper shadow. When it comes after a falling market, when it comes after a falling market, we call them inverted hammer. When it comes after a rising market, we call them shooting star. It's just the mirror image of that of a hammer. It has a small body, it has no lower shadow, it has a long upper shadow, and by long, you know, it has to be 2 to 3 times the size of the body. It has to come after a downtrend. The color is irrelevant. More volumes, better. So if you look at the anatomy of an inverted hammer, it is essentially right the opposite of hammer, and that's why it is essentially has a bearish connotation. It went to a certain high, couldn't sustain, came down. So it's got a bearish connotation. Then how can this lead to a reversal on the upside? We will always wait for prices to break above the pattern's highest point, and the pattern's lowest point is my insurance. So this concept works exactly the opposite of how a hanging man worked in a rising market. The inverted hammer will work like that in a falling market. It is in a downtrend, and a lot of people would have missed shorting it or selling it, and they would like to short it on a rise. We sell on a rise kind of a stock. The stock bounces back because of short covering. The stock bounces back because probably at a lower levels people found it attractive to buy. At the higher, when it went up, probably people shorted it. And if the buying at the lower levels, if the buying over here is far more stronger, if the buying over here is far more stronger than the selling, and if prices manages to bounce back and breach this level, then all of the latecomers who shorted it will be trapped. They will become buyers, and the stock will shoot up. In all the candlestick patterns that we will be doing, the pattern of the height of the height of the candlestick plays a very important role to figure out the possible upside or the downside. If the same thing happens after a rising market, it is called a shooting star. It is called a shooting star. The shooting star is far more stronger and better than the inverted hammer because it has a bearish connotation and the outcome is likely to be bearish. So what we do is we always mark a little below the lowest point and we put a level at the highest point, and once this lowest point is breached, this is where it is triggered and we would like to sell. The same thing over here as well. We use this height as our markup. A higher volume of shooting star would be far more better than that of inverted hammer. Between these two of the inverted hammer and the shooting star would have a higher probability to work well because it is trying to reverse the trend. . Samir is asking, can't we trade through the open and close in intraday? Definitely we can, and majority of our market volumes happens intraday, and we can trade through the body of a shooting star or a hammer, etc. That's our intraday strategy that we will do little later when we start trading strategies. So after the hammer and the hanging man, the opposite, that of the inverted hammer and the shooting star. Now, if I have to give them certain kind of gradings, then I would definitely say that hammer definitely stands well, and between these two, shooting star stands well as a better pattern. Now try and understand that these four patterns, the hammer, the hanging man, the shooting star, and the inverted hammer, they are all made up of one candlestick. They are made up of only just one candlestick. Now, more the merrier. Okay. Or say, for example, every year we have, during the months of October, November, we have Diwali. So if I ask everyone what happens during Diwali, what will be your answer? What happens during Diwali? Or what do you do during every Diwali? What do you do? Nirav says bonus. Samir says enjoy. Okay. Vinay says shopping. What do you do during every Diwali? Crackers. Perfect. Now, crackers is something that I was looking for. Now, amongst all crackers, the one that I like a lot, amongst all crackers, the one that I like a lot is the anar or the flower pot. And this is the one that really shoots up well up in the sky. Now, I don't know if you have ever made an anar yourself or not. The secret of a good anar, which will go 2-story, 3-story, 5-story up, depends on how well the anar is stacked, how well the anar is stacked within. All the gunpowder and the metals and etc. If they are stacked with your thumbs tightly, pretty well, without leaving much airspace, then they would go up really well, a good height. On the other hand, if it's not stacked well, it will not go up that high. So what I'm trying to say over here is, one candlestick pattern can lead to a reversal, but they may not be that powerful to give you significant upsides or downsides. But as and when we add more candlesticks to it, the outcome can be more accurate, and the outcome can be far more longer in terms of trends.